Welcome to the Cartoon Pad, everyone. Cartoon lovers and cartoonists out there, welcome. I am Bob Eckstein, and my co-host is Michael Shaw.
Hi, Bob.
Hello, Michael, and we have our trusty producer, Marty.
Hello.
Hi, Marty.
Did you guys listen to the podcast with David Remnick, by the way?
No.
Yeah. The one on Smartless?
Yeah.
No.
I thought it was very good.
Yeah, he was good, and we should have him on. I have a few questions I could ask. And Marty, it's up to you as our producer to make that happen.
We could get, I guess we could get David Remnick if you really want, but don't you think it would be better if we could get David Remnick's assistant's assistant?
Yes,
that's where we get the real scoop.
Does David Remnick draw cartoons?
David Remnick's assistant is very nice. I've had contact with her because when I did my bookstore book, I wanted to make sure he got a copy because he was an expert on bookstores. At one time, when he was a writer at the New Yorker, that was kind of his beat. And I wanted him to get a copy. And he wrote me back a very nice, thoughtful letter. A thank you. And our go-between was his assistant. But his assistant does not have an assistant. So someone's been lying to you, Marty.
Maybe an intern. Maybe it's an assistant's intern.
All right. I'll let you walk that back and tell him this is Car Talk or tell him it's Meet the Nation or something. Don't tell him this is a cartoon.
So has he ever had a cartoon in the New Yorker?
That's the first question. I'm going to write this down. We'll have to come up with a bunch of questions for him. And then we'll make this happen. This is all good. It's all good.
None of this is good. None of this can end well. I'm sorry.
I'm going to ask him if they can start making the New Yorker instead of portrait oriented. I want it to be landscape printed. So it's, you open it and it's wide. I want it to be bound on the shorter side and then it opens up wide landscape. I want him to shake it up. You got to shake up the magazine world.
I want it to be published twice a week.
I want it to just be in black and white. And then you get to actually make it into a coloring book also, right? So there's no fill-in. Every single page of the New Yorker is a coloring book.
Don't worry. I'm going to come up with the questions, guys. These are all nice tries, but we're not going to bring that up. The
whole thing is printed on a fruit roll-up. So when you're done with the New Yorker, you can eat the New Yorker.
Ooh, I like that.
Thank you. Put that on the list, Bob.
Well, I'll tell you, I was trying to sell my New Yorker shower curtain at my barn sale this weekend. I had a barn sale. And Michael, I need your help because I've been working on the batch. We sent in the batch this morning, but I have 2 cartoons I didn't send in the batch because I need your help. I have like the setup, but I don't have like the punchline yet. So I thought maybe help me.
You don't have the funny part yet?
I don't have the funny part yet. This is where Michael comes in.
Is the problem with the ignition, you think?
Could
something
be.
in the electrical system?
It makes a funny sound. It just does.
Is it getting fuel?
I don't know.
Okay,
but the story is that how I get all my ideas. I overheard stuff, and people say, "We hate this question." We always say we hate this question. Where do you get your ideas?
I steal them.
We'll ask Remnick this question, but
okay.
I always say, if you're a cartoonist, have a barn sale because you overhear people talking and stuff. And I got a couple of notes I took of people oversaying things, and I don't quite have a joke, but I know there's like a cartoon idea somewhere there.
Is the setup, hey, check out this weird stuff at this idiot's barn sale?
No, it was nothing like that at all. It was a very good barn sale. Thank you very much.
Is it a caption contest with a whale being sold at a yard sale? That's currently being...
That's Felipe.
The whale's name is Felipe.
No, Felipe, the cartoonist, Fago, is the cartoon caption contest this week. Yeah. We used to actually work together many years ago. Me and Felipe worked together a long time ago on cartoons. We used to get together. But we have not of late. And now he's back in the New Yorker after a period of time which he was not there. But
so are you, Bob?
Yeah.
You're all over the New Yorker.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, here's some of the lines I heard at the barn sale.
You both have been
we
in
are
the New
on
Yorker
fire.
quite a bit. You are.
No, we were in once. Well, we'll take it.
Bob, don't spoil the magic. Come on.
Okay. So here we go. This is
Don't
what I
knock me
got so
off.
far.
Don't knock me off the mattress. Come on.
So this woman's walking around and she's on her iPhone and she's right next to me as I'm like getting the table set up. And I hear her say to our friend, I guess, again, Steve Jobs has ruined my love life.
Because he's dead.
I don't know. That's what she said. I mean, I was trying to think there's something there because I was immensely interested in knowing the other side of that story.
Maybe it was something to do with a dating app on her iPhone and the iPhone isn't working. So now she can't get into the dating app where the love of her life has just recently matched with her.
Oh, you just sucked the fun out of that cartoon.
Maybe
we need something
maybe she's a necrophiliac and can only make love with the dead.
Okay. Again, maybe that's a plan B.
You know,
how about,
we're pitching here.
I'm thinking Steve Jobs has ruined my love life. We just have to replace Steve Jobs with something else that's funny because that's a kind of a funny setup. It's not there. He's not the right guy for that kicker.
Oh, okay. How about once again, Bob Eckstein has ruined my love life.
Oh God.
You're getting warmer.
I know.
Okay. Let's move
once
on.
again, Marty Dundix has ruined my love life. He's punctured my air mattress.
So let's
we didn't get the prologue, did we? That will be added.
It was just a pen in my pocket.
Ah, but I was happy to see you. All right, keep going.
Last one. Woman's going through a box of these rude gourds, you know, the gourds that you know, and she goes like this to me. She goes, my daughter does interesting things with gourds.
Mm.
Are they gorgeous?
That's a visual cartoon. You're going to have to do something with the gourd. That sounds like a Victoria Roberts cartoon.
All right, let me contact her.
Yes, like, Lovey, I've bought you a new gourd. Go at it.
I wish you were at the barn sale because
I don't believe I was invited to the barn sale. Shaw, were you invited to the barn sale?
No, I don't even know what the hell a barn sale is. Do you have a barn?
We have a barn and we sold things in it.
You have a barn on your property?
No, this is our friend's place. We borrowed his barn. And we had a barn sale. We had the barn and we had the things we filled in, all the stuff like old electronics and glassware and clothes and.
Did you sell any original cartoons?
We sold no cartoons, but I did bring copies of The Elements of Stress. And I did notice a lot of the shoppers were very stressed out.
Sure.
And I sold some copies to them and I signed and inscribed them. I signed your name for you, Michael, because you were not there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did you? I just hope you signed it, Mr. Okay, give me a good cartoon. Yeah, Mr. Thurber. Thank you, Mr. Thurber.
I was just being very honest with them. I just wrote yours in stress, Michael.
But he wrote your name instead of Shaw. He called you Slaw.
Slaw. Yeah. Delicious. That's coal.
Mayonnaise, delicious.
And then I did a nice little portrait of you for each copy. And I always drew in like a little goatee and the devil's horns and stuff like that. Blackened out your eyes, but that's what you told me.
I'm going to interject here that Marty was working on a portrait of you.
I know.
That's right.
He looked like not Eckstein, but Epstein.
I thought it was very good.
Yeah, you did.
We'll put it up.
I thought it looked
on
like
the site or something. People can talk about.
I thought it looked like a person of interest who we should be looking out for.
Well, right now we've totally confused our Car Talk audience who have joined us from last week.
Oh, let's jumpstart this conversation.
I drew an excellent cartoon of Bob using my new iPad Pro with Apple Pencil that I'm very excited about. And I was just kind of playing around. And I think it's totally.
Let's see.
I think it's absolutely perfect in absolutely every way.
No.
So.
Oh, it's Jeffrey Epstein. I'm telling you. All right, it looks a little like Anthony Bourdain.
It looks exactly like. I'm sorry that Bob apparently looks like all those people that you're saying.
You should give him a tiny little body underneath that giant head, so it's a perfect caricature.
Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, we got to get that content on the interwebs somewhere so people can see it.
Well,
That's the
I don't.
mystery.
Now I'm afraid everyone's just gonna mock me, and I can't take that kind of abuse.
They'll be laughing with you, not at you. Don't worry.
No, they won't be.
Yes, they will.
That's the mysteries. How do we get some of this visuals onto what we call the social media?
The unsocial media.
You tweet or you put something on Facebook and you put the image up. It's not magic.
And you can post all your apologies to David Remnick on Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's today's theme is mystery. We are today's guest will be an expert in mystery. And yeah.
I'm going to say today's theme is murder.
Every day I do a podcast with you, Michael. It's a mystery.
And every day
trying to figure out what we're going and what you're saying.
And talking to you is murder.
I'm trying to think. Wait, don't tell me. That's oh God, what's the name of the show with the guy with the butler? The butler who came in and would say that when they got together, it was murder.
Oh, that was Heart to Heart.
Heart to Heart.
That's it.
We're gonna have a huge discussion
about Stephanie Powers.
It's you can't go wrong because when they got together, it was murder.
Were you guys going to talk about your process for gag batches?
I thought we just did.
We're going to do it. I think we should talk about
yeah, I know.
People want to know what we do to come up with the batch. And I do want to share that, but I was thinking we could do that with, I was almost about to say our guest's name.
Don't give
We can say that with our guest and see what she does.
Or he.
Come up with her, or he, or they.
Allegedly.
And how they come up with their batch.
Yeah.
And we could discuss the different things because we could learn something this time, Michael. That's what this is about.
I'm scared, but okay.
Yeah.
So, my batch is created purely out of panic, especially today's. So, wasn't pretty.
What's the top joke in today's batch?
That's a good one. I should actually look at it. I didn't have one. How about you? Let me think about it.
I had one. Again, Steve Jobs has ruined my love life. But what I did was I used 2 giraffes. No, that was not in the batch. I'll tell you though, when I come up with the batch, the way I do it is I do the drawings the night before and I go to sleep trying to think of the captions, and I'll wake up multiple times in the middle of the night with ideas, jot them down. And I'm up all night long the morning of the deadline for the batch. That night, I'm up all night long, just going to bed, waking up, going to bed, waking up, trying different captions.
I do the same thing, except I drew the cartoons 15 years ago. So I did I did a lot of very droll kind of bannery kind of cartoons, like a very nicely drawn church, and then there's a sign that says under new management. Thank you.
All right.
Dry.
Well, not all of them are
Dry.
winners.
That was my best one.
This one woman was saying, looking through a box of gourds, saying that my daughter does interesting things with these. Do something with that.
I thought we moved away from that one.
What if there was an easier way to make that joke though? So instead,
I did one joke.
There's a joke in there somewhere, Bob. I just don't know where it is. Maybe it's under the gourd in the box. There's a joke under there.
So there's the doctor is talking to the patient and he says, "Yes, you had a polyp, but it looked like Richard Nixon."
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Work with me here.
Yeah. This is what killed Car Talk. Just an average day for me. I have to go back to my old ways, which is go back to the spa every morning, go to the spa, spend a few hours meditating. So you get your ideas that way. Have a nice steam. Now, I assume that everyone does the same thing, right?
Yeah, but the spa is the local Citgo, right? I mean,
this is not like a quick check. I'm talking about a real Four Seasons spa. This is the way every cartoonist is. I speak to a lot of cartoonists. This is what we do.
Yes.
Spend a day, you get a manicure. While you're relaxing, these ideas come out where out of left field. You never know when it's going to come up. And
A mani-pedi.
exactly. Now today, this is what I did today. I did the batch all morning until noon was the deadline. Submitted 8. And again, I was waking up all night long just trying to come up with captions to drawings. I like having a setup. Like I had this one setup where it's just a room full of gongs, and everyone there is like a student learning how to play the gong. So I was trying to think of a thing with it. And I won't say the punchline, but there's something that comes in to make it a captionless cartoon. And so, and then I had another one where someone's walking all these dogs, lots of dogs.
Bob,
Yes, I know.
stop.
This is called riffing.
Yeah,
Mike, you have to jump in with some good suggestions.
Speaking of murder,
Well,
you're killing
what
me.
what if it was a store full of gongs or full of something
Yeah.
that makes lots of noise, and someone is walking in that has like 15 dogs? Is there a joke? Like, is there about to, like, the joke is something big is about to happen?
No.
How about the
I don't know.
the store is blown over by a hurricane and the caption is "Gone with the wind"?
The
Mm.
10 dogs that are running are pulling the one dog walker, but all that's left of the dog walker is an arm that was torn off. And
What are
then
your
there's
thoughts about
blood
cartoon captions that are
streaming
puns?
out.
Oh,
Pun-
I'm just
pun
looking
captions.
I'm just looking at one. So it's this guy walking into a bar, and there's women on each side, and there's 2, and they all look exactly the same. And the name of the bar is Doppelgangers. And he says, "Make me a double."
Okay, so that's very punny.
That hurts.
It's more of a play than a pun, but
Michael, you know what I say? What would Leo Cullum do?
he would do a great cartoon and it would sell instantly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like when I see a cartoon, like I'm trying to fish for a line. Sometimes I say to myself, okay, let me put myself in the shoes of, let's say, Sam Gross or someone. What would they come up with? And sometimes you actually come up with an idea.
Oh, I should try that. I just thrash about like a crazy person.
Try my shoes, Michael.
I will try your shoes, but you're like a size 4. You have tiny feet.
Oh, that is not true.
Okay.
1. And I'll just leave it at that.
Let's just leave it there. I'm trying to find a good so here's one. See, and there was a recent buffalo cartoon I saw. So I have these buffalo and they're looking at deer and antelope, and the buffalo are standing there, and one buffalo says, "Why do the deer and antelope have all the fun?"
Leo Cullum?
I don't. Leo, how about the pathetic people who watch Dr. Phil on the next Dr. Phil?
Okay, here was one of my ideas I did for this week.
Yeah.
It was
No.
Abraham Lincoln guest hosting on The View. That's what the banner said. And you saw Abe Lincoln on the panel with all the other hosts. And the caption was Joy Behar saying, "We have a very special show today, Reese Witherspoon." Okay, so I'm making some of this up as I go along. This is all ad-libbing.
Make it up funnier.
Yeah.
How about I had these human pig people, and they're
Good start.
good start. And they're looking at a house with a real estate agent, and the one pig person says, "Just one mudroom?"
I like that.
Winner.
So now
That's
winner,
good.
winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah,
yeah, this is good. This is good.
It,
you're getting there. You're
Okay.
you're
No,
warming
you're
up.
there. You're there. That's
Now
a
you're
good
warming
one.
up.
We just need 9
Just-
more for your batch.
just 9 more.
How many are in a batch minimum?
There's any amount you really want. There's no
Okay.
such thing as
Classic amount is 10.
Okay.
that's a myth that was started. It's not necessarily true. You could turn in what you want. I turn in a cartoon a week. It's always about gourds. Well, here we go. Our next guest is a filmmaker, illustrator, stand-up, New Yorker cartoonist, graphic novelist, and murder expert. She has a new book out called Murder Book. It's a real treat to have on the show, the multi-talented Hilary Campbell.
Thank you. I now when you put it like that, I sound like I'm a talent hogger, as my Aunt Sherry would put it.
No, you are really talented. I came across you on Instagram initially. I saw you singing with your dog, and I think it was a blonde dog named Delta, right?
Yes, that's my parents' dog, who I love dearly. She's a desperately overweight
We're in the
Labrador.
vortex.
And sea chanties. I remember you singing sea chanties in different
Listen,
Cool.
I love musicals, and I can't stop, won't stop. And it got to a point where I started like going on walks with Delta, singing musicals, and then I was doing it so much that if I started to sing a musical in the house, she thought it was time to go on a walk.
Oh, that's so cool. We had your buddy Ellis on. Ellis,
my best friend.
Who will just say congratulations because he won the Gag Cartoonist of the Year at the Rubens.
I know. It was well-deserved, obviously. He's such an amazing gag cartoonist and also person. But he said in his thank you speech that he would rob a bank for me. So I was like, wow, when do I get to take you up on this?
Oh, was he willing to be murdered?
not like you, okay?
Yeah, I've given it all up, man.
Yeah, we have to get through the cartoon stuff so we can get to the main attraction, murder. Yeah, we do want to talk about that.
No,
and
murder.
Yeah, I was going to say, first off, knowing your work as I do, you do a lot of cartoons about dogs, and we know you're a big Snoopy fan, and that Charles Schultz is your guy.
He's my secret. It's like, so he was my grandfather's golfing buddy, and I actually never met him, but I'm just gonna move away from my dog, sorry. I never met him, but most of my family did, and we just kind of grew up with originals basically around the house addressed to my mother, and it's how I learned to draw. It was just sort of being Snoopy.
It's funny, it's the same way I got into cartooning as a little kid too. I used to trace those little books, and you would just go through the panels and just draw them over and over. And it was the same thing. It's amazing how many cartoonists were born from those little books.
I know. I mean, there will never be anything as beautiful in this life as Peanuts. I think that his work is so extensive to the point of like, if anything happens to you at any point in your day, there is a Snoopy cartoon that you could reference to like make understanding of life.
Now, that said, are you being sued by the estate for including Snoopy making a cameo in your book toward the end?
Where is Snoopy? Like, I already don't even. Is there a stuffed animal?
Yeah, no, it's where the cat
he's
gets
an astronaut.
No, it's where the cat gets beheaded in the garage. And Snoopy is dragging off the body. It's kind of creepy. I mean, I don't know how you went there.
No, you have him dressed as an astronaut, which I think is his funniest motif. And I have to go reach for the book because I have notes. I
wonder where I'm like, it's funny that I'm completely blanking. If I drew it, it means I have that in my room.
It's a part of the book where you go to Thanksgiving.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, when I drew him, he was, listen, they can't sue me when it's from IRL. Okay. That's when
exactly
I was drawing when he was in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade a couple years ago as an astronaut.
Very good.
It's an homage anyway.
An homage.
So why did you ever dabble, Hilary? Did you ever dabble in the thought of having a comic strip because of your association with the beloved Charles Schultz, aka Sparky?
Right. Did I? No.
Now, you know what? You do a lot of
I'm,
stuff, but comic strips real work.
Yeah, I'm not good at doing this like one character.
I would disagree because the one character that's all the way through your book is you.
Unless it was me, I could do it. If it was me.
You're wearing this adorable romper all the way through, just the same costume.
Well, I mean, on my like Substack, my newsletter, I do diary comics. So like, I guess, that's like my version of a comic strip, but I don't. I mean, I've had when I first started cartooning, you know, however many years ago it was, I had a few characters that I was like kind of honing in on. And then I just sort of abandoned that.
That's so sad. Well,
I still draw them like they're all versions of me. Who's to say I don't bring them back? Well, what happened honestly is that one of my characters like was in like TV development, you know, for a really long time onto one of these characters, and then it got developed into oblivion, and then I thought the show was going to sell, you know, and it got close to selling, and then it didn't sell, and then I like couldn't look at it.
Was it the headless cat?
Yeah.
I like it.
That's just a big moment in my
we foster kittens, and right now we have a 3-legged kitten.
Oh, you have a 3-legged kitten? Okay.
And we name her. Oh, it's Car Talk. I named her Robin Reliant.
I like it. Great name.
Because it's a 3-wheeled car.
Yeah. I you know, special place in my heart for any 3-legged animal.
My 3-legged cat is named Tripod.
Yeah, 3-color tripod. Or
there's a lot of.
So, Bob, are you still introducing? Keep going.
No, we're done. I mean, this is it. Thanks for coming, Hilary. No,
Thank
I'm only kidding.
you.
We just started. What would you like to talk about? We have the murder book, or would you like to talk about cartoons? What make you feel comfortable?
I could talk about anything, really.
Well, let's talk about murder book.
Great.
Yeah, it was really great. I want to tell you why I liked it so much is because it's so confessional and it was like had these moments where I really felt like it was very autobiography, blah, just spitting out everything. There was this one point, I'm going to go back to page 253, when you make this pronouncement.
He's annotated you.
Yeah, you make this pronouncement that it's easier to be honest with strangers. And you're on the airplane with the little girl. And that's why I felt like the big turning point in the whole book is like, that was what the whole book was about, was like you being on the couch and us being a fly on the wall, listening in. And the way you put everything is so interesting because you're so frank with everything. And the way you speak, you just have a natural flow to it that was really, really comforting.
Thank you. I speak in tangents, you know, and then the whole book is just a ton of tangents. But it is easier to be honest with strangers. I mean, like that's what's like doing stand-up is. I'm happy to get on stage and say horrible things, you know, about like deep, sad truths or something. And then like I can laugh about it there and then like cut to me like trying to talk to like a romantic partner. And I'm like, oh, I can't say it.
Yeah, yeah. You know, the first time you and me met was like, I think in the green room at the New Yorker, and you were telling me you do stand-up. And that's when I told you about Marty and suggested that you do the comedy evenings with Jason. There was 3 of us. There was you, me, and Jason together talking. I don't know if you remember that, but that's the first time I met you. And then
I do remember. I mean, I don't know what I said, but I remember.
You said, go away.
I said, no. Get the hell away from me.
No, but you did perform. You went and Jason did as well. You did some.
We've done, actually, Jason and I just did a show together with Emily Flake too. That was a ton of fun.
Right.
We did a show at Caveat, and I was like New Yorker cartoonist doing stand-up, and Victor Varnado was there too. And I love doing stand-up. I'm really bad at like staying on top of it or like being like super committed just because you draw cartoons all day, all the other things, and like it's just, you know, it's a tough business. And not to mention the year of 2020, obviously I was like, well, stand-up doesn't matter anymore. But I've actually had a great, decent number of shows this month, and I've been having a lot of fun on stage. And I love stand-up and how I can kind of like bring my cartoons kind of into it. Like there's a way, you know, in all of your like one's humor writing, you know, your voice obviously comes through on each side, and it's fun when like my cartoons can influence my stand-up, and then my stand-up can influence my cartoons, but they're also like they're not the same, you know, they have like a much different energy, and like I'm allowed to be a lot dirtier on stage than I can be, like, can really come across in a cartoon.
You can be dirty here too. We're fine with that.
Hilary, have you submitted murder cartoons to Emma?
Of course I have. They've never sold. Too dark, I'm told.
I did a cartoon that I enjoyed. I can't figure it out. So it's somebody, it's like the point of view, it's you're looking down on a building and there's the blanket is down and they're pointing back up and there's glass everywhere. And it's what's underneath the blanket that's funny, even though you can't see it. So I was playing with like Peloton off the 14th floor.
Oh, that's fun.
So there's something there. Murder is hard. Murder is hard.
It's hard to come across and like, in a gag cartoon. I think that's, I mean, but also I guess, you know, I kind of spent the entire book trying to, you know, do humor on death. But it is like, I'm like, if I were to describe my personality, which is an awful thing to say, but like most of my conversations with my family are laughing about murder, which is like, I'm sorry to say it. And it's not that I don't care about people, but the world of true crime and of murder, like it makes me laugh.
It's
that
the
in
way
white
of facing
wine.
Sorry, Bob, go ahead.
I was going to say that in white wine, it comes up very often in your, and I assume that it's because white wine goes well with murder.
Sure, they pair well together, you know.
Well, it's easier to get white wine out of a carpet than red wine. So
sure.
And
you know,
it pairs well with ice.
I love ice. Well, it's because I have heartburn. I have terrible acid reflux, can't be drinking straight alcohol, but I can't drink really. I mean, I like some red wines, but they make me just go to sleep. It's a problem for me.
It's the tannins. So I have to ask about murder. When did you first encounter murder as a child?
Murder.
Yes.
Oh my God. I mean, okay. Well, there's so many
Through
things.
Your mother,
My mom
assuming.
raised me. I mean, I would assume my first sort of interaction with that was probably some sort of 90s thriller. Like, I grew up just, my mom hardcore raised me just on, you know, the classics, on all the movies, on all, you know, on Hitchcock and everything, and, you know, anything that was on Turner Classic. And, I mean, I was obsessed with Rear Window from a very young age. I wrote into the book that the very first sex scene I saw was from Fargo. And that of course, you know, had a long lasting effect on my life. It's about Steve Buscemi. But I mean, I know that I was like watching endless films, you know, like I being the youngest of four, you know, people didn't exactly try to like cover my eye. Not just like throw my.
That's true. I remember that they would forget you were in the room.
Yeah, they forget you. There's too many kids, you know, and then they're kind of like, you know, she's already seen it.
You're watching Clockwork Orange, so you
know. Yeah, like here I am, and you know what? And as my mom, you know, I think she tells me, she's like, other moms would kind of say to me, like, why are you letting her, you know, like watch all this stuff? And to which she said she likes it. So it's like I was clearly happy to be there. You know?
Bob, when did you first encounter murder as entertainment?
For me, it's the fact that Law and Order films in my neighborhood.
There you go.
That's where they film. Yeah.
Even before then, though, we'll get to Law and Order.
Yeah. No, it's Law and Order all the way. It's all about Law and Order. I mean, I also know. Yeah, I know Richard Belzer, and Richard's brother was like my best friend. So that's my connection to murder.
That's a beautiful connection.
So I have to say, I first learned about murder through the Three Stooges.
Oh.
So I'd be watching the Three Stooges and it'd be like Malice in the Palace, and there'd be the beautiful Christine McIntyre, and there would be Shemp, Mo, and Larry just sitting there. And she says, "Hello, boys. I'll be right back. Don't go get yourself murdered." And then Shemp would go, "Murdered? And I'm getting out of here." So, and Mo was always going like, "Remind me to murder you later." That's when I first learned about murder.
There you have it.
murder
yeah.
seemed like fun.
Right. I know. I mean, yeah, when you're introduced, when it's like this like joke kind of like, it makes it all so entertaining. And like, and I definitely watched all the film noirs growing up and like.
And then someone really does get murdered. But see, you like the true crime.
Right. I mean, I do eat it up and I find it fascinating and I really love, I write a lot about Anne Rule's work in the book and I just very much appreciate the sense of justice she brings with her work, and also when she just really writes very strongly about who these people were who lost their lives. I think it also just kind of comes back to the fact that I also just like documentaries and I like memoirs. Like I very genuinely love to learn about people's lives. I like to know people's schedules. I'm like, I like intimate details of people's lives.
See, I liked Quincy. Remember with Jack Klugman?
I never watched that.
Oh yeah, he's a medical examiner.
Oh, okay.
So he would examine somebody, and Jack Klugman from The Odd Couple, and he goes,
right,
this person didn't die from an accident. It was murder.
Yeah,
So, and that was I grew up on procedurals, like we were talking about Heart to Heart.
Yeah.
Quincy, Columbo,
obviously, yes.
It was fake murder for entertainment.
Absolutely. Well, it's the pulp book, it's like detective books and all that jazz. And for me, obviously, to bring it back, it was Law and Order for me, since I'm
and for Bob
born in 1991. And my mom it was just always on, and it still is always on. And now, Bob, they're actually filming the new Christopher Maloney series outside my window.
Really?
And I have yet to see him. I'm stalking, looking for people. I've talked to some crew members, but I have not found Christopher himself.
Well, have you actually told him your story? You've got to tell him. You've got to be a part of this series.
I try my damnedest, okay, and then I get too nervous, and then I'll kind of be like, well, I have this book coming out, and then it's just the crew, and they're like, okay, they're like, they don't care.
Oh,
the
come
crew
on.
doesn't care,
Let me make some phone calls.
Yeah, but then this girl at this place where the gym where I go to, this girl who works there was like, I actually work at a casting agency. If you wanted to be a dead body on Law and Order,
yeah, couldn't you be a walk-on?
I was like, that's my literal dream, is to be lying there dead on Law and Order. And then I was like, and then I got too excited and was like, you need to get this done for me.
You blew it. You're probably scared. You could have been a chalk outline.
Oh,
can you do those awkward knee angles of the truly dead, like Suzanne Plachette in The Birds?
The look of a broken leg.
Yeah, it's like going the wrong way.
Oh God!
But you're dead. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So Hilary, what we need to do is build up your resume to get onto Law and Order by doing the smaller things like this podcast, and next would be like the murder podcast, like My Favorite Murder. Did you contact them?
Of course. Can you believe it? So yeah, I just sent them copies of the book and stuff. And
Good.
Actually, I went to college with the guy that records that. He is produces and records My Favorite Murder. So that actually just got shipped out yesterday. So I'm,
okay, fingers crossed.
Sitting, hoping, praying,
Great.
And
what do you think of Murder Nation? Is that someplace as well?
That's not one that there's so many friggin' podcasts. I actually don't listen to that one, but I should.
Yeah. Do you know True Story with Tig Notaro and Cheryl Hines? It's really funny.
Is that murder though?
They cover murder. They do documentaries.
Yeah. I mean, I love Tig Notaro, obviously.
Okay.
It's not obviously. It's acquired. I love her, but it took me a while. Yeah. In the beginning, I wasn't into her, and then I listened to a podcast, and now I can listen to her all day long. I can not get enough. And I want you to listen to True Story, because they do cover some documentaries that you would like, and that you even mentioned sometimes in your book.
Yeah, no, I mean, that totally sounds like it's up my alley.
Sorry, Hilary. I have to just decimate Robert at this point.
Okay.
Because he's really trying too hard to impress you.
Oh,
So I've never seen him try this hard before.
I'm flattered.
I'm not impressive.
No, you are, but do you know where I'm currently live recording from?
Oh my God, no, I mean,
A basement.
Penn Station, you
No,
have a around
no,
you.
no.
Okay.
Manitowoc, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin?
Yes, but think about Manitowoc.
I don't know what
Oh,
Manitowoc
wait,
is.
and
sorry.
a certain
Who's
car
there?
salvage delership.
What is like the
And
BTK killer there? What's going on?
Making of a Murderer.
Making of him. Oh, I forgot that. Now, what an insane series.
What's funny is you can't talk about it here.
No, I'm sure.
It's extremely polarizing.
Do people are like, it's not true? And then like,
no, it's like, Michael, that just happened. We don't talk about it.
That's really,
it's not to be it's not to be discussed.
Not to be discussed. Well, it's the town. They're ashamed.
Yes, yes. Well, I know it's not really shame. It's just people seem to really take up sides very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks all the oxygen out of our delightful little community.
Well, of course, I mean, anything like that does make a polarized, I imagine like where Lacey Peterson, like disappeared, like everybody in town, they pick a side. Everyone picks a side to be on. And that's wild. Making a Murder is like the first one of those, not the first, but one of those first docuseries, kind of like of its generation. And they were so daring, and being the, very early on that like they had episodes and episodes that were just those court scenes that just went on forever.
I actually started watching it because of being here, because I'm not, I was not a true crime fan aficionado. Sure. You could get you have a master's degree in true crime. This book is like a thesis. But I go, wow, they spent a lot of time. I mean, spent a lot of time researching this. So
oh well, yeah.
I was impressed with the journalism.
Absolutely. I mean, those types of works and the true crime in general and documentary work and all that stuff. It's like there's no rushing it. Obviously, you're literally going through things as they happen. So it could, like the staircase, like it can just be years and years and years before something comes.
See, I like my murders cozy. I like them fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be watching Only Murders in the Building tonight to see what happens.
Oh my God, me too.
It's only one episode, and then you can wait till next week. It won't kill you. You don't need to watch two.
I love that show so much.
But it's getting a little grisly. I mean, and it's really fun. It's really funny because my wife's watching Squid Games.
Oh my God, wait, before I got on here, I'm like on episode 7.
Oh, I can ruin it for you.
No, please don't.
Oh, come on. I'm going to spoil the hell out of this one.
I have to.
Hilary, I'm going to kick him out.
Wait. It was all in a snow globe.
Oh, there you go.
It was a beautiful dream.
Like the end of Krampus.
Yes.
March.
Well, I want to circle back to the book itself. Hilary, if you don't mind sharing a little bit of like the nuts and bolts of how did you get all the stories together? How much research did you do to compile all the stuff? Because like you said earlier, you went on all these different tangents, and I'm very curious to know how you organized it to figure out how you were going to circle back.
I know.
I'm working on a graphic novel for 10 years and everything with me is shrinking it down, but you kind of gave me sort of a little lesson here of expanding. And it was kind of exciting what you did, where you kind of exploded at the different ends. And I want to know how you kept it sort of pulled together. Was there a method to your organization?
I mean, I wish I could say that there was some method to the madness. I don't know if there really was. Sorry, my dog is crying.
It's a very adorable dog.
Yeah. So
is his name Ubu?
This is Margie.
Margie.
So, gosh, I mean, there was I had a lot of like, I'm like, okay, I know I have this joke that I want in, and I want all these different jokes to somehow get in, with that side of it on top of telling a story. So there was, the way that I first started the process was I got a box. I didn't buy a box. I was gifted a very nice like wood wine box that I decided would be the box for my book. And I was like, I'm going to just start putting in scraps of paper, note flashcards with little ideas on them. And just doodles that I've had over the past several years, anything that can be related to the concept of true crime and my relationship with my mother and my sister. And so it started by just compiling all of those things. And then once I felt like, because I sort of religiously keep sketchbooks to the point of like, I have them chronologically like organized, and I keep like every thought I've ever had because I'm so afraid of losing them. So I went through those dating back as many years as I could to just find anything that could be, of use for the book. And I put them all in there, and I had several interviews with my sister and my mother, where just kind of asking them like, what do you think, is the real reason that we're like this?
Yeah.
And of course my mother also goes on tangents. So I just recorded these conversations with my mom, talking about her own mother and talking about her grandmother. I put those all together, and then I just started to flesh out, like I started to gather the different like slips of paper that like went together, and then I was like, well, I had to have this basic timeline of like, I'm trying to figure out how does one become obsessed with murder. So I'm like, so we know we have the obvious timeline of like, I'm going to start as young as I can up until now. So I had that part.
Did you thumbtack them to the wall and connect them with yarn?
I literally, I have them out
like a crime. It was like a crime.
Yes, very much like a crime scene. And I was making all these big timeline maps of like moments in my life with, like any memory that I had that was related to, like a big thing being like, when I saw the movie Zodiac, and like, and then how that, tied into my mother and her experience in San Francisco and during, living through the killings. So it was just like this crazy hectic timeline thing that I was building. But then I was also researching like psychological essays that are like, like actual doctors writing pieces that are like, what literally, the theories behind why do women especially, but also all people, what is the reason they're drawn to true crime? So then that was another way to separate my chapters. So
that was your whole North Star, that the whole point was to know why. So
why?
That was kind of like the North Star for every chapter.
Right. Kind of coming in like, is this another reason why? Like, is this, so everything is kind of like pondering, what is it that draws someone to this? And so then it just became like, okay, well, I have these 3 types of things in the book. Like, I want to tell specific murder stories. I want to tell personal stories. And then I want to talk about true crime, the history of true crime, basically. And so it's, it kind of became like each thing, like I bounced in between all of those.
Now, when you say you gathered everything together, do you mean did you use like a Word document and start really typing everything out because you needed to do that for the book proposal? I'm getting in the weeds a bit here, but there's a lot of people out there who would like to know how you did cross the finish line with such a, there's a lot here.
There's so much.
I'm curious to know how you did kind of reel it in and make it presentable to an editor for them to kind of evaluate.
So the way that I sold Murder Book, to Andrews McNeil at first was I had already drawn 70 pages of the book. So my proposal, and like I had already done like a hefty amount of work to be like, this is what I'm trying to do, and then I did an additional 10-page like hand like drawn pitch rather than like writing a pitch out and saying, this is who I am and this is what I want to do. I drew the whole thing. So it was kind of like an added factor to like my voice and what I was trying to do. And so, and the pitch obviously just include like, this is what the book is, this is what I want to do, and this is the very obvious audience. But so, you know, that's, I sold it on the, you know, that, so it was something like 80 pages of drawings. And
was that,
and then,
Hilary, was that the beginning? Did you just start at the beginning and say, here's my first 70 pages?
well, they turned out to not totally be my first 70
Right.
pages, but like when I was first like ideating what the book might be, those were the 70 page, and they were pretty much the Zodiac pages. And that's where I felt most comfortable starting, because it was something I knew so intimately that I was like, this is where I can really start. And then I ultimately ended up, and that turns out being the second chapter.
So you didn't start with your memoir, like, you know, this is how I grew up. You started out with, you went right to the murder.
I went right to the murder. I went right there, and because it, you know, like has like memoir type stuff in it, because I'm having conversations with my mother about the Zodiac, you know, to kind of start it off. And then it was also showing that like I knew I wanted the beginning of the book to be that I'm sitting at a bar talking to a bartender about true crime. But after, you know, so after that, I mean, you know, and I met my wonderful editor, Allison Adler, and it was like kind of like we figured it out together. I was like, listen, I've never drawn anything this big, so like what, like how do, you know, I'm trying to figure out how to approach it, and she was very helpful. And the way that I outline it actually is fully illegible to other people. So she was like, well, how do you want to do this? And she's like, can I look at your roughs? And I was like, yeah, no. you
So
can't.
did you, I would like to see what a storyboard of your pages
Oh
would
my
look
God.
like.
I mean, to the point of like me drawing a stick figure and then like scratching it and then like writing kind of like, I don't know this, but like, so I just had like college ruled notebooks.
No, I like these little notes to yourself that sort of just stay in here. I mean, it's like, it feels like you wrote yourself a note. You said, hell, that's nice. Let's just leave it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of how I draw the rest of my work too, is like, I like to let my mind wander, and like, you know, if something in the page reminds me of something else and it's worthwhile, like I'll go tell that story too and bring it back. And so we did it chapter by chapter, is how I was like, I can outline and draw a chapter and then we can look at it. And I was like, and knowing I have an idea of where I'm going, but I'm not a person that can like do this massive big outline and then go back. I'm too impatient. And I read that, like, you know, I'd read an interview with Julia Wirtz where she was like, I only outlined 5 pages ahead. And I was like, okay, I was like, me too. So I felt calm being like, Julia Wirtz is amazing. If this is how she works and that's how I want to work, it's totally.
You didn't strike me as being like Hitchcockian in trying to map everything out precisely. You just, you know.
Oh, wait, that's a compliment. I broke them down like that, and you know, and obviously Allison and I went in on, you know, we'd have to rearrange some pages and you know, if something wasn't quite working, you know, and remove this, and like now, you know, many moments where you're like, we love the tangent, but now you've gone too far, and I'm like, okay, you're right, like that actually really doesn't need to be there. So
I'm going to ask an actual technical question. What kind of pen do you use? Your lettering is fascinating.
Oh, thank you. I just use Uniballs. I use
do you draw over them? I mean, I'm a micron man myself, but it looks like you've got every size. Then you put one down and pick one up.
I use just the whatever this is, this Uniball. Fine. Well, and I have one slightly thicker one and one slightly thinner one. And so, but it's nothing fancy, you know, it's just
Uniball, the pen of choice.
It's a pen. I actually don't like microns, so that's a me thing. I don't like the point on them. But I, you know, just that on just Bristol, you know, paper, and I do light pencil underneath, and just, you know, draw.
If you were true to your love of the 70s, you'd be using rapidographs.
Oh, there you go. I know, I do love the 70s. Well,
I noticed that. What is your love of the 70s? I actually was around during the 70s, and
I like the clothes and I like the music. And I'm just jealous of everybody that didn't have to have exists with a cell phone. Like I'm like
That's true.
I'm so jealous. I want to like know what I would have been like. Like I try to like be this. I try and I'd be like, don't use your phone. You don't need it. But I have a horrible, embarrassing phone addiction, and I hate it. I really hate it.
It made murder much easier, like you said. You
Oh my God.
alluded to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, of course. And, you know, like every movie from the 90s, like all these thrillers where you're like, yeah, all these things could happen. Like these crazy, you could write these storylines too. Like, you know, the plot of Scream is like, Billy Loomis is like, they know it's him from the beginning because he has a cell phone. That's like a major plot point in the movie. They go, where'd you get that phone? You know, like, and so much is possible when people don't have the internet. And nowadays, when you have to like write something, you have to figure out why these people don't have access to a phone to immediately call for help, you know?
And in the 40s, it's like, here's a nickel. Go get in line.
Yeah.
You're like, 6 people are in front of you. You go, I got to report a murder.
I know, you're like, you don't understand. Yeah. So I'm jealous of people that of being alive before cell phones.
It was okay.
Yeah.
Hilary, do you need to recharge your batteries, you think? Or is this the time now you could focus back into your gag cartooning?
Yeah. Well, so I finished the book sometime in early spring, late winter, early spring. And I totally took a massive break. You know, I feel like I totally fucked around all summer, just being like, I should work, but nah. Like, so I took a big break, but was also like excited to do gag cartoons again because I'd like kind of had like ideas that I would like throw in my notebook that I just didn't have time to do and like hadn't submitted to the New Yorker in a long time, really. And so, you know, I've been back to that, and then honestly already just working on a new book. And but it was, you know, it was very, but it was also the terrifying feeling when you finish the book, you're like, oh no, like what's my purpose now? I was, you know, for a long time was able to wake up and know exactly what I needed to get done that day.
Your purpose is to go on podcasts like this and discuss the book.
What a beautiful purpose it is.
Yes.
Can you tell us anything about the new book?
I can't publicly. It's not signed. The deal's closed, but I haven't put pen to I haven't inked the deal.
I promise you, no one's listening.
No,
I know. Well, I'll email you about it.
Is it about secrets?
Let's
guess.
The book's called Secrets.
Well, I can ask you
murder.
This.
It's going to be it's a sin. It's one of the deadly sins.
One of the 7 deadly sins.
Well, I could ask you, what did you learn from the first book that you feel like is going to make it exciting for the next book? Was there something that you said, now I know, I've been through it, and now I know what I'm going to do this next come around?
I'm going to be better at grammar. Oh my God. I'm horrible at grammar. Okay. Like the copy editor came in at the end of this book and was like, honey, you've missed 1 million commas and periods. And I was like, God, no. And I fixed those digitally, you know, but
did your its hit the fan? Got to keep your its straight.
Yeah, it was very upsetting. And I was so sick of like looking at my iPad on Procreate too. I was like, just kill me. But yeah, I hope to be better with with grammar, so I don't have to do so much of the fixing later. And I'm sure outlining this new book and like kind of I'll be a little more seasoned in my planning.
Well, this book was so long. I was wondering maybe if you're going to try
next one will be as long.
Yeah. God. Okay.
Yeah. But I'm excited, and it's very different, but obviously it'll still be me, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
So that's going to have dogs and wine in it.
Well, of course.
Dogs and wine.
Yeah.
Well,
my favorite animals.
Well, Hilary, where else can we see your work for your fans? Can we give your information where we could follow you?
Give out my phone number, give out my address. Okay. I cartoon at the New Yorker. But I recently started a weekly Substack, a paid newsletter, and comes out on Fridays, and it's a lot more cartoons and writing, and it's only $5 a month. Okay, so like, don't be shy. Substack, newsletter, New Yorker, Instagram, of course. I've had several cartoons in Alta magazine lately. They've been very good to me. Their California publication, and then most importantly, you know, for Murder Book coming out, if you live in the New York area, please come to the book release party. That's Tuesday, November 9th at Littlefield in Gowanus, and we've got an amazing lineup of Kat Cohen, Natasha Weinblatt, Anna Dresden, Karen Chi, and Christiana Jackson. So it's gonna be a friggin' party, okay?
I'm
And
going to that. I'm
Go
definitely
by.
going to go to
Marty,
that.
you go.
Yay!
I live like 1 block away from Littlefield. I love Littlefield.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm so happy. And then
Between
obviously
Littlefield and Union Hall, there's the only 2 places I ever have to go to see comedy, and that's it. I never leave a 4-block radius of my life.
that's not a bad. There's nothing to complain about there.
No.
You know.
No, congratulations. I mean, if people want to know more about Hilary too, the book is really confessional.
Yeah,
You spill everything. I mean, should we be concerned? I was wondering if people approach you with like cards for therapists and stuff.
Well, don't worry, I've been in therapy. No, I mean, I definitely think, you know, of course, sometimes when you are drawing about your life on the internet and it becomes your career, you forget how much information's out there. And sometimes I've had people say things to me and I go, why do you know that about me? And then I realize it's because I blatantly put it online.
Yes, that's why you make stuff up.
Yeah.
So I have another shocking event to show Hilary, in that I think in her book she solved the identity of the Zodiac killer.
Oh no, everybody
Yes.
knows what that is, though. I didn't solve it.
It is. No, look, it's Funky Winkerbean.
Okay.
You got a little Funky Winkerbean in you.
There he is. I didn't even mean
Your style is very comics. In this, it feels like a comic strip to me, which, you know,
well, I wanted it to, you know, I mean, I'm drawing definitely differently than I do in my gags and other stuff. So I wanted it to feel that way, and in a larger work like that, it's definitely, yeah, I prefer to work in that vein. Did you see that like a couple of weeks ago, they actually, now that's like every 5 years somebody thinks they solved the Zodiac crime, and then there's this new group of people now who are saying that they totally solved it, but then they literally listed a wrinkle in the man's face as evidence that he was the Zodiac. And I was like, I'm gonna need a little bit more than that, than just being like, he also has wrinkles across his forehead. Didn't seem like enough for me.
He's a thinker.
Yeah, just a lot of just furrowed brow.
I thought the Zodiac was Ted Cruz. Am I wrong on that? That news?
That was a great time.
That's old news. All right.
Yeah.
Missed the boat on that one. Oh well. No problem.
So what's the current true crime you're following?
Well, of course, Gabby Petito, who's, you know, now of course her body's been found, and that the medical examiner determined that she was strangled. So it's like so obviously her boyfriend, but that was a huge case over the past month or two, and
they had him, and they just didn't do anything about it. And then they just waited.
It's so fucked up that they fucked it up so beyond belief. That's a complete debauched case, which is, I guess, obviously no surprise to most of the police out there.
Were you sitting by when they were going to do the news? And didn't you love how they were like, the medical examiner will make the announcement later this afternoon, and then you get like an update, and it's like, okay, at 4:00, the medical examiner will come live on the news, and they all covered it, and you were just waiting, and I was waiting before. I was waiting, and I was like, it's going to be strangulation. It's going to be strangulation. And she's like, they come up, they're like, murder, homicide, strangulation. I'm like, clearly.
Yeah, no, they got to make they want to get numbers in. They're trying to make
the most obvious answer has to be like neck bruising, has to be.
Yeah. Oh, it's so awful. My sister and I were on the phone. We go, never ever drive across the country with your significant other. We go, you
And
could
without
end
a cell phone, yes.
dead. You don't want to do that to yourself.
You want to
Uh,
hitchhike, no cell phone.
None of that. No,
I'll
thank
see
you.
you when I see you.
No, thank you. But I've also been watching The Way Down, which is like, it's on HBO Max, and it's this documentary about this cult. I think that was kind of started in the 90s. I think it's in Colorado, and it's this, I'm forgetting her name, but this crazy ass woman who got people to believe that God wanted them to lose weight.
Hilary, this is the subject of next week's True Story with Tig Notaro.
Is The Way Down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I have to watch it because I'm only watching them so I'm trying to follow them. I can barely follow us.
It's
I mean,
hard.
you guys are into murder and stuff. This is so out of my element right now. I'm just coasting here. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Like, you're scaring me, Hilary, really.
I'm so sorry.
But I can't get into this obsession with murder. It's wild. And because it never ends. It's like an I Love Lucy with the chocolates. There's always another one coming out.
Yeah. No, well, of course, I mean, humans aren't going to stop being bad. So what are you going to do?
What about mysteries? Just mysteries now.
Oh, hell
don't have to be crime. They have to be crime. Like I did, Who Made the First Snowman or things like that.
Okay.
That was a crime.
That in itself is a crime. I mean, I like to watch like science fiction too. Like, I love X-Files so much. Like I'm not, complete limited.
Thank goodness there were no cell phones then. Like,
oh yeah,
Mulder, just take a fucking picture of it.
I know.
What?
You're like, just take a photo.
Take a picture, for God's sake.
I always wish I worked.
Mulder.
I wish I worked in a bookstore. So if someone came in and said, "Where's your mystery section?" I say, "You have to find it." That was a joke. That was a cute joke.
You have to get a job.
All right. We're going to have to end it there on that note. Hilary, thanks for coming on. Let's repeat where you're going to be having your book launch.
Yes.
In Brooklyn.
Yes.
Just some dates and some exact address would be helpful.
Oh, I wish I know it's on Sackett. I don't know the exact address. It's
Marty does.
Let's see here.
Yeah.
Marty's our man.
And we do want people to come, right? It's safe for them to show up.
We want everyone to come. Are you kidding me?
Okay. We're just making this clear. Good.
All vaccinated space, obviously. Tuesday, November 9th at Littlefield. Doors at 7, show at 8. And it's in Gowanus. And you can buy tickets. You can go through my Instagram, probably the fastest way to find a link. And so I'm at Cartoons by Hilary. Hilary with 1 L, always important to note. And so and that's the day the book comes out. Murder Book is out November 9th. I can't believe it. It's been like 3-something years in the making. So,
and it's a very good book. I read it cover to cover, and I'm just gonna, not that my recommendation matters, but it was really entertaining.
Oh, thank you. That means so much to me. I really appreciate it. And thank you guys for having me.
Thanks so much, Hilary. Good luck with the book. See you later.
Thank you.
Don't leave town.
All right.
Bye.
Well, Bob.
All right, Michael, there we go. Another mystery solved.
You were a killer tonight, Bob. You killed it.
Well, it is a very good book. We do recommend it. And she's very talented.
It's exhausting.
We never even got a chance to talk about her films that she makes. I mean, I don't know where she finds the time. I can never understand how any of our guests find the time to do what they do. It makes me exhausted. I'm going to go take a nap.
Okay. Good night, Bob.
All right. Well, good night, everyone. Good night, cartoon lovers and cartoonists. Until next time.
Until next time.
Okay. Thanks for this time. Your time this time. Till next time.